Uh, so this morning I want to talk about the account of Zacchaeus, the tax collector. And I'd actually preached a sermon about this before. I can't remember if it was here or at the other church or where it was, but I felt like I just had some more things I wanted to say about it, so I just kind of got led down this direction again. So we're going to take a look at that today, and it's found in Luke 19, 1 through 9, and it says, Jesus entered Jericho and was passing through. A man was there by the name of Zacchaeus. He was a chief tax collector and was wealthy. He wanted to see who Jesus was, but because he was short, he could not see over the crowd. So he ran ahead and climbed a sycamore fig tree to see him, since Jesus was coming that way. When Jesus reached the spot, he looked up and said to him, Zacchaeus, come down immediately. I must stay at your house today. So he came down at once and welcomed him gladly. All the people saw this and began to mutter, he has gone to be the guest of a sinner. But Zacchaeus stood up and said to the Lord, Look, Lord, here and now I give half of my possessions to the poor. And if I have cheated anybody out of anything, I will pay back 4 times that amount. Jesus said to him, Today salvation has come to this house, because this man too is a son of Abraham. For the Son of Man came to seek and save the lost. So what do we really know about Zacchaeus? Well, we know he was a tax collector. Not just any tax collector, he was the chief tax collector of that area. We know he was rich. We know he was curious about Jesus. We know he was short. We're not going to hold that against him. Right, Amy? That's cool. We're good with short. And we know that he was despised. Sometimes we just kind of read these things, though, and I think it's like we just kind of draw this picture in our mind, kind of like the children's books that we read, when the children's Bibles pictures we read when we're kids. We just kind of imagine we see Jesus, and we picture him in Jericho. We picture the crowd, and then we just picture this, happy Zacchaeus up there in a tree, smiling, waiting for Jesus. And everything seems pretty benign and pretty safe. But then we just kind of move through the story and go to the next one. Don't think much of it. But I want to kind of look at some of the tension that might be here. Now, I just kind of want to lean into it a little bit. I want to kind of feel it. What might have this felt like in that moment? Particularly for Zacchaeus. Here was Jesus, the preacher, the teacher, the one who called everything just as it was, right? He didn't hold back. He called a spade a spade. Didn't matter who you were. You could be a Pharisee. It didn't matter. He'd call it out. And I'm sure his reputation preceded him. That's the reason these crowds came to see him. That's the reason Zacchaeus was there. That's what they'd all heard about him. And I was looking into this. I was reading about this a little bit, and some of the commentaries, and some of the scholars said that they believe the reason Zacchaeus couldn't get to the front of the crowd, because he was short, he couldn't see, but if he got to the front, he could have saw. But the reason he couldn't get there was because he was so despised. The people wouldn't let him up there. People wouldn't let him through the crowd. Personally, as I kind of reflected over that, I thought about it. I thought there might have been some other reasons why he wouldn't have wanted to be in the front of the crowd. Maybe it was because of his guilt. Maybe his shame. Jesus would preach about the love of money, right? He would preach about that often. He never had anything good to say about it. Could you imagine what if Jesus would have called him out for his love of money right in front of everybody, in front of this whole crowd? What if the teacher that everyone was listening to made him the object of his sermon? With a mob like that, I don't know if you guys have ever been in a mob or a group. It's out of control sometimes. People don't always think. They just kind of follow. Things get out of hand quickly. It could have got dangerous for him. He could have been humiliated. He could have been beaten, maybe even stoned. You don't know how far this could have got. All it would take is for this figure, this Jesus who was coming through town, to say the word, to call him out, just to call him for what he was. Zacchaeus was hated, and he was despised by these people. I wonder if he chose to be up there high in that tree or not right there in the middle of the crowd, maybe as a matter of caution. I think he probably wanted to be close enough to see, but maybe not close enough to be seen. I imagine the second that Jesus made eye contact with him, and he knew that he was noticed, maybe his heart skipped a beat. Maybe he starts to break out in a cold sweat. What's he going to do? What's he going to say? And then Jesus calls his name, Zacchaeus. I imagine there was some suspense there for just a moment. What was going to be next? Mercy or wrath? But the next words that came out of Jesus' mouth probably brought about as much confusion as it did relief. Come down immediately. I must stay at your house today. I can just imagine the disbelief that he'd have felt, like, me? Really? Me? And the crowd, they got the same reaction. They're like, him? Really? Him? Like this guy? And then I kind of think about Jesus in all of this. Have you ever stopped to think about the courage that Jesus had? You know, Jesus is here in this crowd too, right? This crowd. And he just calls out this guy, the biggest scoundrel, the biggest cheat, the one that they just don't like the most. He says, I choose you. I want to be your friend. Will you be mine? Right in front of everyone. No hesitation, no fear. I don't know where everyone stands here today. But if you're a person who's here this morning because you want to hear about Jesus, you want to know more about what this is about, who is this guy, what's the big deal? But you might feel like you're unworthy to be his friend. You might feel like you're not good enough. I want to assure you this morning it's not a matter of being good enough. Because it's a heart that is willing to confess it's not good enough that Jesus is looking for. Jesus was not only interested in a heart that felt like it earned its way. Jesus is interested in every heart. He really is. But it takes a soft heart for him to use. It takes a humble heart for him to use. If it's a heart that feels like it's checked off all the boxes, it's passed every test, it's earned its way, there's not much he's going to do with that. He was interested in a humble heart. A broken heart that says, I am unworthy, I have sinned, and I have nowhere else to go. One that says, I broke it, I can't fix it, but I believe that you can. Why did Jesus choose Zacchaeus out of that crowd? Out of all those people? In my opinion, is because Zacchaeus had more than everyone else in that crowd. And I don't mean money. And I don't mean stuff. I don't mean material possessions. I don't mean opportunity. I don't mean any of that stuff. I mean that he had the most pain. He had the most loneliness. He had the most regret. He had the most shame. Zacchaeus may not have been a very big man, but I think he was carrying a pretty big load. And Zacchaeus also had faith. He carried the weight of all of those eyes of that mob despising him. All the guilt for all the things that he'd done. And when Zacchaeus gives half his money away to the poor, half of what he had wasn't enough to earn his way to heaven. That's not the point. When he gives 4 times the amount of everyone he ripped off, that wasn't going to cut it either. But when he gladly welcomes Jesus, when he stops denying who he was and what he did, when he humbles himself to the point where he's willing to put everything down, Jesus says these words, "Today salvation has come to this house, because this man too is a son of Abraham. For the Son of Man came to seek and save the lost." In Zacchaeus' brokenness, he saw something that a lot of people miss. Zacchaeus saw freedom. Zacchaeus had sold out his people. He had sold out his heritage. He'd worried, he'd struggled, he'd compromised. He gave everything to gain that fortune that he had. There was nothing left for him. I don't know if you guys watched The Chosen. I love the way it describes Matthew. When you watch him, you see how despised these people were. He had nothing left. His family, nothing. All he had was that job and the money they gave him. And we see here when Zacchaeus, when he forsook it, that old yoke, that yoke of material possessions, that yoke of guilt that he felt. He took on the yoke of Jesus. Zacchaeus found freedom. Jesus taught in Matthew 11:28 through 30, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light." Now, this is the question I want to ask you today. Are you at rest? Jesus invites us to lay down our yokes and take on His. The money and stuff, that was Zacchaeus' yoke. It may not be our yoke. Ours may be a fear of failure. Ours may be the need to feel the approval of other people. I don't know what it is. It could be anything. Jesus says if we take on His yoke, we will have rest. The reasoning would say that if we don't have rest, that we're trying to carry things that don't belong to us. We're trying to carry things that aren't ours to carry. To explain this another way, I guess I was thinking about something that happened the other day. I was talking to a friend of mine, and I was bothered. I was agitated at something that was just upsetting me. I didn't know what else to do. I've been carrying it around with me, and I was talking to this friend of mine about it. And he says, "Joe," he says, "I think you just need to lay it down and give it to God." And in my knee-jerk reaction, well, I did, That's what I wanted to say. But before I get the words out, it hit me. Yeah, you did. With the words. I prayed, "God, take this. Take this from me. I don't want it. This is yours. Just take it and do whatever you want with it." And I did that. I prayed that. But did I really lay it down? Had I truly laid this down and given this situation completely to God? Like I said, in words I did. But what did the fruit in my life say? It said something else. Because I was angry. I had resentment. I didn't have peace and I didn't have rest. So my friend saw that. He saw the fruit in my life wasn't there. And that's when it dawned on me. Yes, I'd prayed that God would take this burden away from me, but I wouldn't give it to Him. His hands were open, but I wouldn't let go. So there's a difference between giving your burden to God and just asking Him to help you carry it. There's a difference between saying, Thy will be done, and Thy will be done my way. And the way to tell the difference is in the fruit that you're bearing in your life. Jesus taught a lot of times, right, about the fruit. To judge a tree by its fruit. And we're real good at looking at other people and applying this and saying, what kind of fruit do they got? Are they legit? Are they not? How often do we apply that to ourselves? How often do we ignore the plank in our own eye, right? I'm not saying this for like self-condemnation. That's not where I'm going, and I don't say this to make us feel bad about ourselves. That's not at all the point of any of this. I'm saying it's a matter of self-reflection. It's a matter of helping us evaluate ourselves. What's our health? What kind of shape are we in? Not just to pick up more burdens. Well, I need to try harder, I need to do better. Not the point. But it's to realize the ones in our lives, the things in our lives that we're still trying to carry, that aren't ours to carry. If it's causing us anxiety, if it's causing us worry, if it's causing us stress, hatred, guilt, shame, all these things, and we're still trying to carry it, those aren't our things to carry. This is what I believe Jesus saw in Zacchaeus. He saw someone that needed freedom. He saw someone that needed rest. I was trying to think of a way to kind of teach this and a way to understand it, not just in words, but maybe to help us kind of feel it. How many of you remember riding a bicycle when you were a kid? Paul, my bicycle days stopped probably 35 years ago. I don't know if I could still even ride one. But I remember when I did ride one. How many of you would ride your bicycle with no hands? Remember doing that? Remember riding the bicycle with no hands thing? Do you remember the first time you ever did it? Remember that feeling? It was so hard to get to that point, wasn't it? I remember for myself, like I'd seen the older kids do it. I'd see them go through to Portland or whatever. I'd see them riding their bicycles with no hands. I thought, wow, that's so cool. I so want to do that, you know. But I just couldn't get myself to do it. I knew it was possible because I see them do it. But how? How could they do it? You start questioning, like maybe they just got something I don't. Like maybe my balance just ain't good enough. Maybe there's something wrong with me. I can't do that. I just imagine for me, if I would have let go of those handlebars, my bicycle's going to be like a magnet right for the nearest mailbox. Whack! I can just imagine it. It seems so counterintuitive to me to take my hands off those handlebars and let go of that control. But one day after I wanted it bad enough, I just did it. I just let go. And right down the road I went. I can still remember that thrill, that excitement. This is actually happening. I'm doing it. I'm riding no hands. I'm one of the cool kids now. But this is a lesson I want to share with you guys. It's not that I could ride a bicycle with no hands. I had not acquired a new skill. I had acquired enough faith to believe that bicycle was going to keep going. even if I wasn't in control of it. And it's the same way today. It's not about learning something or doing something. It's just as simple as letting go. God has your burdens. And God has your problems. You just got to lay them down. And that bicycle, it's not going to crash. Today, I was wanting to close with a song. It's a song I heard the other day. I don't remember how I ever came across it. But I really liked it. I found it real helpful to me, real therapeutic to me, and I just wanted to share it with you guys. So as we listen to this song, I just want you to just ask the Holy Spirit to search your heart. I want you to ask yourself, what's been stealing my rest? And when you find it, I just want you to lay it down. Just the same as the bicycle. Just let it go. And when the song ends, I'm going to get back up here. I'm going to give a benediction. And I'm going to dismiss you. But I don't want you to pass up this opportunity. This opportunity to leave here today free from guilt, free from shame, worry, anxiety, and fear. I want you to leave it here. And I want you to leave with rest.
Lord, I got the world upon my shoulders, but you've been saying, child, put it down. I prayed and prayed that you would take my burden, but you keep saying, child, put it down. Maybe I'm addicted to the worry. Maybe I'm a slave to holding on. Help me put it down. Help me put it down. I've heard it said the gospel is rest. Oh, how I need it. Say it again till I believe it. Oh, how I need it. Oh, how I need it. Lord, you took the world upon your shoulders. Now all I have to do is put it down. I'm living like some weary beast of burden, and you keep saying, child, put it down. Well, maybe I've been trying to be the hero, fighting wars that you've already won. Help me put it down. Help me put it down. I've heard it said the gospel is rest. Oh, how I
This is from Romans 15:13. May the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace as you trust Him, that you may overflow with hope by the power of the Holy Spirit. Go in peace. Know that God has you.